Hi, I'm Terry Ryburn. I'm a PAC TV member, and I'm with Clay Evans, who is the acting, perhaps you can help me with that.
The former acting chairman of the Massachusetts Federation of Young Republicans.
Okay, and what is the status of young Republicans in this state, do you feel?
Well, I feel that the Young Republicans, I feel that we are really interested in getting the organization active again. That's what we've been doing throughout the past year. We've been working to revitalize a lot of our chapters, especially in the greater Boston area, which tends to be the draw. If you look at the North Shore and the South Shore, a lot of people in those areas tend to gravitate towards Boston. So that's been our primary focus out there. We have also had the Central Massachusetts Young Republicans out in the Worcester area that have been working to get reorganized. In fact, actually one of their own got elected on June 9th at the convention that we held at the Scott Brown Victory Office up in Boston. Got elected to be the secretary of the board.
Oh, okay.
And I think we're interested in getting our people out because there are many issues that young people face. I mean, college debt for one, just off the top. I mean, it's crushing many students that are graduating from college these days, and making it impossible for them to meet their expenses. It's almost like a mortgage coming right out of college that one is stuck with. I mean, according to research that I've done, it appears that that's the next bubble that we're facing: student loan debt.
What do you think is a good solution for that problem?
I think there's no simple solution, but I think that in the long run, we have to look at peeling back the amount of dollars that are pumped in to education, because what happens is when you get the student loans and the grant money that gets put in by the federal government and the research dollars that get put in, and that say that you increase the amount of student loans given by $15,000, then the college will increase their tuition by another $5,000 because they see the spigot turned on even more.
Sort of like education inflation, as it were.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at, and my family looks at this. My mother is a headhunter for colleges and universities, and the cost of education, I mean, has gone up by an average of 5% every year. It's the only industry that, even in the current recession and in past recessions, has actually increased, as well as healthcare.
Do you think also graduates, to help them pay off their loans, they need to get jobs? I mean, that would be obviously very helpful.
I think that would be nice if graduates could have an easier time in the job market. But I think because of the economic environment that this president and the governor and people on Beacon Hill and in Washington, D.C. are creating, it's just, there's no certainty. There's no regulatory certainty. There's no tax certainty. I mean, if we had policies, for instance, on the state level, I worked for a candidate that had an idea of, let's say, we're going to commit to no changes in our tax laws and our regulations for 4 years. I've also heard a candidate say on the federal level, perhaps we should have every 10 years each regulation comes up for review and renewal. I mean, that would really help businesses plan with certainty for the future. I mean, because if you don't know what the costs are going to be the next day, I mean, how do you know if you're going to have the ability to bring on a new employee or to make that investment in the company?
Well, we've got Tax-mageddon coming up in November, December.
Exactly.
Do you think they'll figure that out and try to extend those tax breaks, or do you think it's going to happen?
I would hope that we could extend the tax breaks, and I think that we ultimately will extend the tax breaks, because I think this will be a good year for Republicans across the board. I think Mitt Romney is going to get elected, and I think based on the numbers here in Massachusetts and based on what I've heard coming out of the Mass GOP, it seems that Mitt Romney is going to win Massachusetts, and it also seems that Scott Brown will win Massachusetts, and I believe that Scott Brown is one of the key races in our country if we want to hold on to the Senate, and I think that we'll have that race.
Another item that came up that Romney talked about was vouchering. Do you think that's something that we should be looking at?
Could you repeat the...
Vouchering, where students could take their money. For instance, they might be in a inner city school that's not performing. They could take their federal tax dollars, not sure about the state, and walk it over to maybe another private school.
I think that is a good idea. I mean, having done the research on that as far back as in high school and doing debates on that, I think that is a way to really bring competition in to the public school sector. And I mean, a lot of the private schools. I went to private schools, and I think in a lot of cases they have a better system of education. I like the idea of charter schools, and I think you get more bang for the buck in those institutions. And it would really help a lot of people that are struggling right now.
Well, it's also the idea of bringing competition into the school realm.
And I think we need to deal with the problem of the union contracts and the whole issue of the lemon stance, where in the public school sector, if if a teacher isn't performing, then they don't get fired, or they don't lose their certification, but the principals end up passing them around one to the other, from one school to the other, and that does nothing to improve the education system overall. I think, having taken a course this past year on economics of education, I think we need to really consider some of the ideas in the film that was produced. For example, Waiting for Superman.
Oh, okay. So you're supporting a candidate this year, correct?
Yes, sir. Actually, I am supporting, I'm supporting Mitt Romney for president, Scott Brown for United States Senate, and Chris Sheldon for Congress.
Okay, and how's that work going? Is that a busy schedule for you, helping Chris?
It is, but it's good work, and I believe that Chris is the most qualified candidate to do the job. He certainly, he has the economic background, the public policy background, and he's been active here in Plymouth County, studying ways that the county can amend its charter to bring it into line with what is needed in terms of contemporary needs.